right, after 5 disastrous attempts, we are back with the second episode of Siobhan Speaks Social. Got several topics to talk about, covering the end of the world, Trump, of course, internalized misogyny, but my main focus today is that internalized misogynoir, which is a word many of y'all may not be familiar with. And before I move forward, my name is Siobhan Bonds Patterson. I am a small business owner that focuses on the personal development and enhancement in the lives of women, particularly women of color. I love teaching about topics ranging from race, religion, and politics, how they affect us in our everyday lives, and how those things don't need to be taboo. They need to be talked about, because if we don't talk about things, then we're not going to have any context. If we don't have any context for history, then guess what? It repeats itself. So you're going to hear me talking about things that maybe have seemed taboo to you in the past, or people that you know, but that you really need to have a better understanding of. I'm not just talking to or about white people that have lived in a bubble or have on blinders. I'm also talking to people that look like me, that have been in their own bubble. And while everyone has a lot of work to do on the way that they view us in society and their own internalized racism, we also have a lot of work to do as a people to heal from the effects of what has happened to us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop in, because I'm very neurodivergent and I'm also unmedicated, which means rabbit holes are something that you can expect. Like, don't even, oh, there's one, like it's going to happen. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. Pluto and Aquarius. I'm not an astrologist, okay? I do not chart the stars, and I don't know much about astrology, but I am spiritual, I'm intuitive as fuck, and I know when my intuition is matching what all of the astrologers are saying. So Pluto and Aquarius, what is it? It is when the planet Pluto is in the constellation of Aquarius. 5 points for me. No, but what it means, Aquarians, like myself, my birthday's at the end of this month. Aquarians are like the humanitarians of the zodiac. So we have those rose-colored glasses on. We can see the world in a better place. If you ever watched the 40-year-old version, you know, at the end of it, it's like, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. That is dope. But that's how we are. Like, we're very open-minded, very free-spirited, very loving, very compassionate, and you know, like, think futuristic. I don't know how to describe all Aquarians, but I know that humanitarians, that's who we are. We're the humanitarians of the zodiac. And so astrologists believe that our planets, and I do too, the constellations, the moon, the sun, things outside influence what's going on inside. Okay. And so with that said, with Pluto being one of the darkest, and this is my own personal interpretation, okay? I'm going to blend it with like the real people stuff, but my intuition, when I hear Pluto and Aquarius, everything is symbolic, right? Even what I just said about things outside influencing the inside, it works both ways. Back to Pluto and Aquarius, when intuitively, when I hear that, or like kind of like if someone gave me an ink blot test, what do you see when you look at that? When I hear Pluto and Aquarius, I think of the coldest planet being out far, 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 far away from the rest of the planets who have played nicely or whatever. Think of Pluto, something cold and dark because it's away from the sun, coming into a constellation called Aquarius, which is known for being humanitarian. When I think of mankind, I think of apathy. I would love to think of happiness. I would love to think of art. I would love to think of joy. I would love to think of all of those things that humans do create. But when I think of them, like, one, you can't have one without the other, right? There is no love, unfortunately, without hate. There is no good without bad. There is no bad without good. And so there is no cold without also the loving. But unfortunately, when I think of people, I think of the cold aspect of them. And some of the most beautiful art that has been created over the years, whether it's paintings, whether it's music, whether it's poetry, whatever, it usually came from a place of pain and or darkness and or some sort of suffering, which led to a dark night of the soul, which led to a spiritual awakening. So when I think of humans, I think of cold. So in my head, Pluto gets to be an analogy, a metaphor, a symbol for humanity. And as humanity is floating through the humanitarian of the zodiac, it's time for humanity to get an upgrade, to get a makeover, get a redo. The last time we saw Pluto in the constellation of Aquarius, I want to say it was in the 1700s. I want to say like 1780 something. It was like 20 years. It was real quick. And in that time period, we saw American Revolution, French Revolution. We saw the Haitian Revolution. And what that tells us is that there will be a revolution this time around. But what we also know is our boy Cat Williams told us this was going to happen. He didn't say Pluto and Aquarius because he's not into astrology, but his own intuition, his own tapped in, tuned in wisdom, right? That doesn't have to come from a pastor or a pulpit or a medium, right? We're all connected to that same wisdom, that same source. Some of y'all call it God. Some of y'all call it Allah. Some of you call it Buddha. Some of you call it source energy. Some of you call it divine energy. It's all real, and you can tap into it if you choose to, right? When you choose to stop believing that everything that is told to you is real, when you choose to stop believing, I'm not trying to get you on conspiracy theories. I'm just trying to wake up those of you that aren't awake. I'm talking about the people that go to church and believe every single thing the pastor says just because he's a pastor without thinking, is that really what God said? Is that really what the word meant? Let me look into it for myself. If you don't have that in you, you are asleep. I'm talking to the people who really believe everything the news tells them. Do yourself a favor. Watch the show Scandal. I was in church and didn't have time. Like I didn't watch secular stuff when I was in church because I'm actually like about that life. You tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it. And they said don't watch secular stuff, so I didn't watch secular stuff. Crazy me. Anywho, watch Scandal and then also watch Succession on HBO, and you'll see how manipulated the media is and how they pick what story they want to generate to us. Does that mean everything they say is a lie? No, but it does mean that you can't take everything anybody says at face value. So with that said, right now we're coming full circle now, coming full circle. We're in a time of revolution. Okay. Pluto and Aquarius literally means that the old systems are going to fall, the old ways that the world worked. We're going to say that Pluto was the old ways that the world worked, and that it worked because it was a sense of controlling people, controlling the information that they receive, controlling how they worship, who they love, where they shop, what they do. One of the reasons why society hates neurodivergent people or fat people or minorities or anybody that doesn't fit into their boxes is because it is extremely hard to control large groups of people when there's so many variables. So Pluto and Aquarius is the revolution or the resetting of the old systems, the old structures, and the old ways of doing things. So at that time, back then, you know, those were the old systems and the old structures that needed to come down. My ADHD is bugging me because I didn't finish that last complete thought about everyone taking stuff at face value. The whole purpose of me saying, those of you that need to awaken is and me saying all the different ways that you guys connect with God. Here's a little tangent. This has been in my heart for a long time. The story of the Tower of Babylon. I made a TikTok on it. And what I gathered from that is that religion, languages, we all have it. We all were tapped into God at one point, universe, source energy. We were all together trying to build a tower to get to said energy, supposedly, according to the Bible. And whatever happened, we all ended up coming down and going our separate ways, having separate languages. That's supposed to be the origin story for languages. And I also believe that we all took whatever piece of God we knew to understand and we went our separate ways, and that's how we learned how to use it. For whatever reason, the American culture, Western culture decided that the way that they do things is the only way to do things, and they have made life a living hell for everyone since. But the worst part about it is that they dressed it up and disguised it as something called democracy and told us that our government was for the people, by the people. And they told us that they're not here to control us, they're here to help us, and they're here to protect us. Protect us from what? Y'all motherfuckers are the ones that are lying. So I think it's an appropriate time for us to take a moment to mourn the deaths of a couple of individual beings / entities. Today we are mourning the death of democracy. As of 1/20/25, democracy in America, maybe no more. On that same day and or around-ish, we may or may not be mourning the death of TikTok. Because maybe Red Note. On and or around election time, we started to mourn and are still mourning the death of DEI. Or are we? Okay, that mourning time is over. Let's get into some real stuff. Okay, why are we mourning the death of democracy? I'm not going to take too long on that one because unless you've been hiding under a rock, this is what's going down. But just in case you are under a rock, I was on Facebook the other day and I was seeing the grandmother's comment that Trump, there's fake charges lodged against him, and they really are so adamant and passionate about him being their messiah, and it is just the saddest thing ever. And after I saw that this is where they are, I decided that this is not my fight to fight no more. Like they're actually really gone. Like they're really, really gone. Not every conservative, but like most MAGA, like they are gone, gone. So yeah, let's go ahead and wave bye to democracy as we watch this. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm not even so sure that it's gonna be the death of a democracy the way that we think. We think it's going to be just a collapse. We're gonna turn into an underdeveloped or undeveloped nation, and that could be it. But I also think that it's the death of the old systems of control that were used, that were in place. That's what Pluto and Aquarius means for us. And going back to what I said, Cat Williams told us that this was gonna happen, and ever since last January when he went on that Shay Williams show, all we've been seeing is systems that were up, like basically the Wizard of Oz, and the curtains being pulled back and being shown. Like, oh, you guys thought that blah blah blah. No, the health insurance companies are actually fucking you over. In fact, all insurance companies are fucking you over, even your homeowner's insurance that cancels right before the wildfires start. Stuff like that. Oh, you thought that this was about, you thought DEI was really about black people? No, like, oh my gosh, that's just no, it's not because white people aren't getting hired. What's actually being exposed now, thank you, Trump administration, is that people like that in positions of control and fake systems of power and control will put whoever they want into positions that they want and then turn around and blame you and say that you're doing it. Because all that they're doing, every accusation that they're making is actually a confession. Every accusation is a confession. Every accusation is a projection. I had a nice little, every accusation is a confession. There we go. But it's also a projection. So whatever that you're seeing thrown, like, oh, DEI is just like affirmative action and it's just getting unqualified black people in high places, when actuality that's like what's been happening since the beginning of time, but with white people. So that system, that whole like facade is now being torn back so that people can see it. And I love it because it's going to keep happening. The universe doesn't play. The law of reciprocity is real, and the tables have finally needed to turn. Is it going to happen? Here's my theory. I thought, change happens slow. This isn't going to happen overnight, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, things happen slow in the past because of, the lack of technology. They want to get rid of TikTok because information is spreading way much faster than it used to. And also, it's connecting so many different people to see what's going on in other countries and other governments. And then also, people are getting to see how much America is not this beautiful, the facade of America, land of the free, home of the brave. No, people are getting to see all of these things up close and personal. Even the people that go to church every week and believe the pastor is telling them that never question it, right? Okay, these systems are coming down, and it may not look like, oh, the whole USA is going to be on fire. It may actually look like, hey, we can rebuild something that makes sense now. Because once upon a time, America was the thing that made sense as opposed to Britain rule. I don't even know enough history to know if that's legit. I also think that that's a facade, right? Religious freedom. Nah, y'all motherfuckers just wanted to go somewhere you could do whatever the fuck you wanted to. But anywho, and it backfired on you. So we were mourning the death of democracy, but are we? Maybe it's a fresh start. We were mourning the death of TikTok, but like, are we? Because like other countries are talking about buying it, and then I heard someone said they're going to extend it for another 200 days, and I'm like, that's almost a year. Like, what are we doing here, folks? And also the death of DEI. Is it though? Seems that Costco and Apple are not convinced. And again, one of the things that I learned when I woke up or when I abandoned the employee mindset, which, pause, segue, if you're not a business owner or a freelancer, there's no shame in that. There is no shame in working at a company like that. I own a company. I want people to want to work for me. I'm talking about the mindset, the worker bee mindset, the do as you're told. Look down. Don't say nothing. Don't cause no riffles. Don't ruffles. Just do your work, do your job. Sit down, shut up, type junk. Go to church and come right home. Like if you stay like that, like they love people like that because you can manipulate people like that, because you can brainwash them. You can tell them anything and they'll believe it because they were taught to do what they were told. And for those of you that subscribe to that, yeah. One of the things that I learned when I woke up from this employee mindset of, and again, it's not the employee mindset so much as, let's say, worker bee mindset, where you don't ask questions, you just get shit done. I learned how businesses actually work. And I learned that businesses, especially ones that have CEOs that are millionaires and billionaires, their primary goal is not to like provide a service or a product that is useful for the market. It's to make a profit. And then the second goal is to keep the shareholders happy. And in most cases, to make a profit and keep the shareholders happy, you get to do what? Run your company with old systems of control and power and greed. Things like overworking people and underpaying them. Things like having people work full-time hours but not giving them full-time benefits. Or working minors, because you know that people abuse the fuck out of minors in the labor force. I know because I was one and I have I have two sons and I watch how they do until I have to get involved, which I hate doing because he's a grown man. But these people are taking advantage of children. So when it comes to companies, their primary goal is to keep their shareholders happy and to keep profits high by any means necessary. And so maybe it could be the fact that they looked at their numbers, they looked at their shareholders, and even though blacks are only 13% of the population, maybe there's a larger percent of Apple and Costco shareholders and or employees, and or by being smart business owners, they realize that because there's such a large portion of us buying from them, they don't want to lose those coins. There are some companies who are so stuck on either pride, ego, greed, control, whatever, that they're willing to miss the black dollars because they have that much either hate in their hearts for blacks or just that much desire. Like they don't care. They just, I can't because why would you want to lose money like that? It could also be fear. Because a lot of people are bending the knee to Donald Trump because he's backed by the world's richest man or second. I don't know where Elon is. I don't fucking care. But it could be a lot of people that are afraid of retaliation because of him. So it may not necessarily be, may not be the end of DEI as we know it, just for the pussy ass companies that want to act all bitch made and bow the knee. It shows us that they were never about that life to begin with, that it was, again, a publicity stunt to impress shareholders or increase profits. And then once they realize, oh shit, we don't have to do this, our shareholders, they may have taken a poll and learned that their shareholders don't give a fuck about DEI, and that's why they were willing to scrap it, which shows that they were never about it in the first place. Costco and Apple could be really about that life and care about their company, care about their employees and their customers and their image and their legacy, not just momentary fame and momentary, oh, we're cool, we're rebels. I don't know. It could be that, right? They could be really good business owners, or they're really good business owners and realize that, hey, this is going to have a negative impact on our money overall. If all the black folks stop feeling superior than their other Android users, that could be a problem. If all the, like, so maybe it's not the death of DEI. Maybe other companies are going to stand up and let their balls hang. Or maybe other companies realize, hey, we ain't finna lose some black dollars. But either way, thank you for joining my miniature funeral. All right. So speaking of the not so death of TikTok, something else that popped off this week was the fact that a lot of Americans hopped on Red Note, which is, to me, I think it's cute. It translates to Red Book, does it? Which is cute because our Facebook is blue, so that's cute. But one of the things that happened right away that just irked me was Americans getting on there and complaining about how it wasn't user friendly for them. Complaining about how it wasn't user friendly for them. Complaining about how it wasn't user friendly for them. My beloved, I want to hold your hand right now and let you know that the world was not made for you. It does not revolve around you. And it also is not going to bend at the knee for you like you're Donald Trump. So when you go other places, and this may be something new for you, when you go to other countries, some of us leave the resorts. Some of us go out amongst the other people and we learn their cultures. And hold up, hear this. We respect their cultures. We don't expect them to speak English in their country. We expect people to speak English no matter what. Like, no matter where they are, no matter where we are on the planet, everyone should speak English. If there's anything that dies during this season, this pruning season of Pluto and Aquarius, I pray that it is the privilege of Americans. I'm not even talking about white privilege anymore. I'm just talking about American privilege because there's black folks on there acting up, just so freaking privileged. Like, y'all don't, I can't. All right, we're moving right along. Next one, I can't. So my main focus for today, what we're talking about is, so the main topic that has me worked up today, the one that's really grinding my gears, is this topic of internalized misogyny. Now, if you listen to the old Boss Life with Bonds podcast, as I was getting close to where I am now, starting to realize that these are the things that I'm more passionate about, I had forgotten about internalized misogyny because I'm so focused on uplifting other women and just like educating people. And it's not sugar coated light and love only, like, oh, hey, sis, this and hey, sis, that. No, like, I'm giving a lot of tough love in areas that people don't want to hear because when you love someone, you tell them what they need to hear. And I love people. I love women. I love black women. I love black people. I love people. So when I'm saying these things, it's not because I'm trying to hurt white people's feelings. It's not because I'm trying to hurt women or men, anybody's feelings. It's because these are the things that need to be said. And when it comes to internalized misogyny, what is that? That is, you know what misogyny is, right? Internalized means that there's a piece of it within all of us. I'm not going to waste time about how men have internalized misogyny because you could just look in the comments of any popular female's page. And if you go to the right post, or if you go deep enough, there's going to be some angry, some incel, some insecure, some emotionally underdeveloped toddler talking junk, calling a girl a Karen, calling her out her name, just making up all kinds of things, and they don't understand why, right? At first, I thought it was just men are mean to each other, and that's cool. But like, why? Why are y'all so mean to each other? And the ways that they're mean to each other is that they belittle them the more feminine like they are, the more touch with their emotions they are, the more toxically masculine they are, the more they make fun of them. And so then that points me back to, oh, so they don't like things that are feminine. Why do men hate things that are feminine? Why are they so anti-feminine? And I think that it can be linked with homophobia, right? The fear of being de emasculated, and that likening you to being that of a woman. So maybe it began there. Maybe it began with a hurt, with a pain, right? Of maybe men that got raped or men that got, what is it, buck breaking, right? Because now I'm talking about homophobia across the cultures. There's so many reasons why um, this idea that femininity is weak or deplorable, there's so many origins for why that could have happened. And I know that there are people smarter than me that have studied this and have figured it out. But when it comes to women and their internalized misogyny, it hurts a whole special way. When I walked into the gym today, there's two girls that live in my neighborhood, women, and I can tell they're not European American, but I'm thinking maybe South American, definitely of Hispanic descent. I'm going with Colombian, maybe Colombian, Venezuelan. But usually when it's Caribbean women, Hispanic women, there's a little connection there because they can either, I don't know, like I vibe out better really well or naturally with my women that are from the Caribbean. But when it comes to the Hispanic women from South America, and again, please forgive me because I'm not as well versed on South American culture. I have plenty of friends from Venezuela. My best friend growing up was from Peru. Plenty of friends from Colombia and I say Colombia and Venezuela, and then plenty of friends from Brazil. But what I've noticed, and I used to think this about Puerto Ricans, was that they have this attitude like they're God's gift to the earth. And it's like, baby girl, if you pretty, you beautiful, flaunt that. I love that for you. What I don't like is looking at other women as if they're beneath you, especially women of color, especially women that aren't perfect looking, or just women at all. Because I can remember when I was young, a little girl, and I would be in the grocery store and I would see another little girl and I would literally just flick her off. And I don't know why. I, just being real, was the prettier of the two. And yet when I saw another little girl, I just got so intimidated and I felt so competitive with her that I wanted to flick her off. And I believe that your childhood trauma, your childhood behaviors, if you don't reconcile those things, become your childhood drama. I'm going to say that again. Your childhood trauma becomes your adulthood drama. And there's a little piece of me that was always trying to compete with women, and I don't know why. But what I do know is that that internalized misogyny, that's what I see come into play. I've done a lot of work on myself, loving myself, healing myself, accepting all of me. And if you know about shadow work, when you embrace your shadow, loving all of you, even the not so pretty parts that are behind you that are dark and scary and you don't want to look at them, when you can learn to do that for yourself, you can do that for anybody. Doing shadow work helps you have empathy for yourself so that you can have it for others, because when you can embrace all of your flaws, you can understand that other humans have flaws too, and you can just love them without being a fucking bitch. Where am I going with this? Because now I'm grown. And now when I see other women around, I don't have this urge to say, fuck you. I actually have an urge to smile and be like, hey girl, or oh my God, you look good. Or just make her feel comfortable. Not make her feel comfortable, but not be intentional about making her feel uncomfortable. And I wish the same could be said when it comes to Black women. I'm taking a turn now from internalized misogynoir to misogyny to internalized misogynoir, which is this this hatred, this disdain, this dislike, this mistreatment, this negative image and mindset of Black women, specifically Black women, and it is rampant. And I remember watching The Good Place, the episode where the judge went to Earth for what seemed like 3 seconds to us, but was an eternity to her. And she comes up, first thing she says, wow, you guys really don't like Black people down there, Black women down there. I didn't even realize that until I stuck my head out of my ass, started divesting from whiteness, where I do all these things to make myself look more acceptable to them, wear blonde wigs, always wear straight hair, you know what I'm saying? Like, just live my life in such a way that is pleasing to them. Once I stopped doing that, I started to see, oh, wait a minute, they really don't like us. And in order to survive, I assimilated in a way. I even go by Bonnie because it's more palatable for people. And the word Siobhan, even though Siobhan is a fucking Irish name, people hear it and they're like, oh, that's ghetto, Siobhan. You know? So I've done so much in my image and in my life to make myself less of a Black woman, more palatable as a Black woman. And I'm fucking tired of it. And I'm not doing that shit no more. I'm not doing the fake smiles. Like, I'll smile if I'm in the mood to, but I'm not going to smile just to let you know I'm one of the good ones, or I'm one of the nice ones, or I'm friendly. Like, there's no reason for me to do that. Do you expect a smile from every person you see on the street? And if so, you need to, like, get real, because people have real lives they're going through. Like, somebody's grandma could have just died. I don't fucking smile. Get over yourself. Internalized misogynoir. This idea that Black women are inherently ghetto, inherently mean, inherently angry. And this just stresses the revelation of misogynoir to me just amplifies the need for global healing. Because as I mentioned with shadow work, if you were able to look at yourself and learn to love all of you, you'll have a lot easier time at least tolerating other people. And you don't need to love all of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's deeper level, higher consciousness stuff. I don't expect people to be there. But to just have this disdain in you, every time you see a Black woman, you're going to expect her to be upset. You've already created a backstory on her or whatever. Like, and I get this all the time. I got to go places and I got to be extra nice so that people, because they've already decided in their head, oh, she got braids. Oh, she get a Black girl. Oh, she has on a beanie. Oh, she's tough. Well, she's Black. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, they already have in their head who I am and what I've come to do. So in order to survive, I have to water myself down, smile, be nice, gentle, be over feminine in a way, and by nurturing of a warmth, so that people treat me better. When I go out to eat, I tell the server, who already comes over mad, whether I'm with a big group and they're like, oh, a bunch of them, or whether it's just me and they're thinking, oh, she's not going to tip, right? I gotta let them know. I used to serve for 15 years and I literally watched their countenance fade and their change, their relax, and now they're talking to me like they would probably talk to someone that doesn't look like me. This is an everyday experience for me in most cases. And I'm tired. I make things funny and it's kiki haha and I love that. But at the end of the day, we're tired. So when you think of Black woman, I want you to put your mother, replace your mother with me or whatever woman you're looking at. And I want you to think how your mother would respond had she had to live through some of the situations that a woman of a different color, her same age, would have gone through. Okay. And it doesn't have to just be for Black women. This is for any human. I'm going to end with this. This has nothing to do with women. My oldest son was arrested by Seminole County Police here in Florida. And he was pulled over for jaywalking, which is crossing when it's not at the crosswalk. A lot of people do this on a regular basis. They don't get pulled over and or arrested. They asked my son his name, and let's just, for this purposes, we're going to say his name is David, but goes by Dave. They asked him his name. He said Dave. They asked again. He said Dave again. When they looked up his name and found out that his name was David as opposed to Dave, they charged him with 2 counts of falsifying his identity. A friend of mine, he was telling me a story, very successful business owner, mentor, friend. He was telling me how years ago, before he got on the straight and narrow of sobriety, ran into a cop car that was stopped doing an accident. And long story short, he walked away with a $100 ticket. He was plastered when he ran into that cop car, the cop car that wasn't moving, that was already at the scene of an accident. And he jokingly says, oh, I walk away with a $100 ticket. If I was black, I'd be dead or in jail. That's a story of, two different tales, one black man, one white man. So every time you think of an experience that you may have, if you're a white woman, I want you to think of how that experience might have played out if you were someone that looks like me. That's all I got for you guys today. My birthday's at the end of this month, and if you get value from this show, if you've gotten value from anything that I have ever put out there, I'm not asking for thousands of dollars. Hell, if everybody that tunes into the platforms I'm at donates $1 or even $2, I'll reach this goal in no time. But my goal with Mind and Body is to create safe spaces for women. I've talked about it a lot, how fitness changed my life. It helped me get more confident. It jump-started my personal development and spiritual journey. And as a result, I changed careers and started working for myself and just created an entirely new life for myself. I feel like now, more than ever, women need that. Women need to tap into their connect with their creator, tap into their inner power, and then obviously start taking things back for ourselves, because we have a several thousand-year catch-up game that we're a part of right now. And I believe that that starts with holistic health. And I want to start creating gyms and spaces, actual health clubs that aren't so part of the old paradigm, part of the old systems, hard sales, aggressiveness. No, I want a safe space where my ladies can go, and then maybe later on down the line, my sons can make the Mind and Body Men franchise. But for now, my initial goal is to get my very first building and grow and create a sustainable, equitable, I almost said profitable. Yes, we want profits, but one that has morals, one that has ethics, one that is community based, and one that puts people over profits. I want to change the way that people think of gyms, because this is a big reason why most people are out of shape, is because going to the fucking gym suck. And I want you guys to stay tuned for my upcoming series as I'm exposing a very well known gym franchise for the fuckery that they do. Anywho, with that said, guys, my birthday's coming up at the end of this month. If you'd like to make a donation, or if you want to sow into that dream or into that vision, the link is going to be in the show notes or in the comments, and you can read all about, how we got here and where we plan on going. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to doing many more. We're going to have these at least once a week on Wednesdays, and hopefully we'll get back to doing these 2 or 3 times a week. All right, guys, till next time, be sure to like, save, share, comment, all those words that you need, and I'll see you next time on the Siobhan Speaks Social podcast.